watching a global celebration of all things Notre Dame, where we invite you to watch, connect, give, and vote. This is Notre Dame Day, live from the LaFortune Student Center.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to hour number 17 of Notre Dame Day, a 29-hour global celebration of the University of Notre Dame. If you're back for our 17th hour, thank you. We promise you this hour's broadcast will not disappoint. My name is Maureen McFadden, and I'm a graduate of St. Mary's College, just across the street, and I am here at LaFortune Student Center at Notre Dame's campus, a few yards away from the university's main building and its iconic Golden Dome. This will be our broadcast headquarters for the next 14 hours as we celebrate all things Notre Dame with alumni, students, parents, friends, and fans around the world. And I'm joined here in the studio by my co-host for the hour, Terry McFadden.
Yeah, and for those of you just joining us who are not familiar with South Bend, Maureen is actually my sister. We're the only brother-sister news anchor team in the country, and we're fortunate enough to work together every day and co-anchor the evening news at the local NBC affiliate, where you should be watching Notre Dame football games.
That's right.
WNDU TV. Again, Mo's a St. Mary's grad. I'm a Notre Dame grad, class of 1983. Our dad's was a Notre Dame grad, 3 brothers Notre Dame grads.
And our dad was also the mayor of Vettville. Look at that little bit of history.
Were you born in Vettville?
I was. I lived there till I was 4 and a half, right where the Hesburgh Library is now. It's a great bit of history to look up. You can Facebook, Google, Vettville. It's really something.
I was born off campus, and that's where I still live. All right, well, we've gotten to know a lot of, we've gotten to know a lot of great people.
You can stay at his house during football games.
Yeah. We got to know a lot of great people at Notre Dame over the years, and many of whom are well known to some of you, and we'll be talking to a few of them during this next hour. Coming up, we'll talk to a real Indiana legend and a neighbor of ours.
Right.
Yeah, growing up. The former mayor of South Bend, lieutenant governor, and governor of Indiana, and of course, a Notre Dame graduate, the one and only Joe Kernan. Maureen will be interviewing the executive director of the Notre Dame Alumni Association, Dolly Duffy, and later we'll have a very special message from the current mayor of South Bend, Pete Buttigieg, who is Notre Dame grad and is currently serving a Navy reservist role in Afghanistan.
And we have 2 rival residence halls, St. Edward's and Zahm Halls, who will engage in some friendly competition this hour on campus and online. But first, let's take a look at this TV spot from Notre Dame.
An Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
We are the University of Notre Dame.
On the morning of September 11th, I was in my office at the U.S. Department of the Treasury. I heard the impact of the plane strike the Pentagon. I felt the impact of the explosion. For me, 9/11 reinforced the importance of doing everything to ensure that terrorists are prevented from launching another major terrorist attack.
Today, we have launched a strike on the financial foundation of the global terror network.
Terrorists need money to terrorize. My responsibility was to go after the financing of the terrorists. The Treasury Department has been able to block and freeze the bank accounts of individuals and businesses linked to Al-Qaeda.
Former Undersecretary at the Treasury Department, Jimmy Groulet, is widely recognized as an expert in the field of terrorist financing. Experienced as a policymaker and practitioner, he educates a different kind of lawyer in the classroom.
Notre Dame Law School seeks to train a lawyer that isn't principally concerned with money and prestige, but a lawyer who has a responsibility to build a better society. And I'm excited to be part of the Notre Dame mission.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
for a healthy global economy.
Fighting to improve living standards.
Fighting disease.
Fighting for justice. We are the Fighting Irish.
All right, as a journalist, we always want to get the story right, and I have to make a retraction here. Pete Buttigieg, the South Bend mayor, is not a Notre Dame grad. I was confused. His father is a Notre Dame professor. I had him in a course, and he flunked me. No, I'm kidding. I got by on the skin of my teeth. But speaking of Notre Dame and legends, a true legend here in the Notre Dame community, a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, former prisoner of war, a former mayor of South Bend, lieutenant governor, and the governor of the great state of Indiana, and a proud Domer, just few of Joe Kernan's accomplishments. And Governor, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thanks, Terry.
It is a pleasure to have you here. And the obvious question that anybody asks anybody who has been to this great university, what has Notre Dame meant to you?
From the time I was a kid, there was no place else that I wanted to go. I used to come up here and after football games, try to get a piece of the goalposts that were routinely torn down. And that stayed with me until I got in. And it is one of the greatest experiences of my life to have had the opportunity to go here, to be a part of the university, to make friends that I have today and will have for the rest of my life. And there isn't any place better on the planet.
Besides those connections that you've made, from a philosophical, from a spiritual standpoint, how has Notre Dame affected your life?
Well, I think I'll give you an example. When I became governor, my general counsel told me that there was a death penalty case that was probably going to land on my desk the following July. And having never been in that position before, making the decision about whether someone's going to live or not, I took it very seriously. And among other things, sat down with Father Malloy, sat down with Father Bob Pelton, sat down with a classmate of mine, Tom Durkin, who does a lot of pro bono work in death penalty cases, to try and figure out what the best course of action was for me to take, whether to grant clemency or not. And at the end of the day, in large part because of the experiences that I've had at Notre Dame, I made the decision that I was going to grant clemency, that Darnell Williams would not be executed, and reduced his penalty from being executed to life without the possibility of parole.
But it was that Notre Dame foundation, that Notre Dame level of morality that made you comfortable with that decision.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the ability to be able to tap into resources here at the university and talk to people that I trust, that I love, that I know.
In effect, you were talking to family.
Absolutely.
Notre Dame is a family.
Yeah.
Joe, you've spent the better part of your life in South Bend, Indiana. There is a symbiotic relationship between the city of South Bend and the University of Notre Dame. You, as mayor of South Bend, you as a Notre Dame grad, knows that better than anybody. How has that evolved? How important has that relationship between Notre Dame and the greater South Bend community become?
It continues to grow. When I was mayor, Father Malloy was the president. We really took our jobs, got our jobs at about the same time. Monk led the effort in a number of different things, from working to create the prototype of centers for the homeless in America that we have, that still is up and running today, helping people get back on their feet. The Center for Social Concerns, was not called that at the time, but it was the engagement of students from the university involved at Logan Center, involved in helping people figure out how to pay their taxes, who didn't have a CPA to do it for them, and those kinds of things. And it has evolved and gotten better and better every day, every year. And the things that are going on now are extraordinary, with the advent of Innovation Park, that is a part of Ignition Park, the only two technology parks that are certified by the state of Indiana in Indiana. And there are great things that are coming out of that. It's creating additional employment opportunities, creating a lot more energy, bringing more people into the community. And obviously the things that the university has continued to do routinely in terms of making sure that the facilities here are state-of-the-art, and the investments that are made, much of which goes right back into the community, to our local labor force, to people that are going to be hired from the community to do the different things that are involved here. And it's it couldn't be better, but it will be.
And even during the Great Recession that we had and through now, that Notre Dame's expansion and the willing to involve the local labor force has been so crucial. We've seen so many fantastic projects built, and there are many still in the pipeline. Now I got to put you on the spot, Governor. You played on Jake Klein Field. Now they've got Frank Eck Stadium, employing local labor to help build that place. Do you ever get over there to watch a few games?
Absolutely. Yeah, I get over to watch the Irish, and I think it's a great thing that that our Olympic sports are now in the ACC. I think toiling in the Big East had great advantages, and it was the right thing to do at the time. But I think the move to the ACC creates more awareness. It's a stronger conference. It's one that and one that we're making our marks in. A la the Notre Dame lacrosse team.
Kudos to Kevin Corrigan.
Kudos to Kevin.
Yeah.
For beating Syracuse, who had whipped us pretty well just a couple weeks ago.
Now I have to ask. I got to put you on the spot, Joe. You were a catcher, correct?
I was.
All right. How would you describe Joe Kernan, catcher, Notre Dame? Big stick, no field,
Good field, no hit.
Good field, no hit.
Good field, no hit. Yeah.
Well, Joe, I'd say in the game of life, you hit one out of the park. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Terry, thanks very much.
Neighbor, always good to see you. If you didn't know, well, I grew up across the alley from Joe.
And I won't.
He won't divulge anything.
I won't tell any stories.
And I will not divulge either. Thank you again for coming to campus to visit with us.
No, it was an honor to be asked.
All right.
And great to be a part of this.
Well, it's always great to point to people. You know what? That Joe Kernan, governor, mayor, Notre Dame grad, good man. All right, Joe, thank you very much.
Thanks,
now
Jared.
let's watch this great Notre Dame story about another wonderful, wonderful project, the Relay for Life.
Welcome back. Joining me now in our studio is 1984 Notre Dame graduate Dolly Duffy, the executive director of the Notre Dame Alumni Association. Notre Dame is widely recognized as having one of the strongest and most extensive alumni associations in higher education. So tell us, what makes your organization so successful?
Hands down, that's an easy answer. It's the talent, the generosity of all of our volunteers. Every time I turn around, I get another phone call from someone who says, what else can I do? How can I help you? Just earlier this year we had, or this month, we had the leadership conference. We had 300 and some volunteer leaders from all around the world who came in just to get trained and find out how much more they can do on behalf of Notre Dame.
How extensive is your network of alumni clubs?
So they're actually not alumni clubs, they're
Okay.
Notre Dame clubs. And that was changed because we have so many Subway alumni, right? And so the Gettysburg Club being a perfect example. So the Notre Dame clubs are all over the world, and we have almost 275, about 52 of those being outside the United States, and the rest of them all in the United States, the highest of any school in the nation.
Yeah, I was over in Ireland, as I'm sure you were, for that football game, and it was amazing. The alum, the Subway alum, the support they got from everyone.
Yeah, it was great. Ironically, my husband and I were there for a wedding later that summer, and they were still talking about the Notre Dame fans, and everyone to a T wanted to know, when are we coming back?
Okay. Beyond these clubs, what are other ways that the alum interact, and what do they do within their own communities?
So in their own communities, they operate on something called the 6 C's, and that's camaraderie, Christianity, current students. They have all kinds of activities that surround those 6 C's, and most of the clubs every year fill out an annual report. Some of them are this thick of all of the activities that they do, community service. It's amazing. And then here, more locally, the kinds of things we do, I would say the biggest one right now is Faith ND. And that's an online, every day somebody who signs up for it gets the gospel reading of the day and a reflection written by an alumni parent, friend, priest. And we have close to 40,000 people right now that receive that every single day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a way to reach out to family and friends. And you're a mom with 5 kids. Some people might wonder how you handle all this.
I always laugh and say some days I do it well and some days I don't.
Well, I'd say you do it very well. Thank you very much for being with us today, Dolly. We really appreciate everything you do for Notre Dame. And now let's join Terry at the anchor desk.
Thank you.
I just want to mention that Dolly's kids are always in the Catholic school spelling bee. And my kids have yet to get into it. So she's got some pretty smart kids. Not that my kids are dumb, they just don't spell as well as Dolly's. Anyway, as we've shared with you, Notre Dame Day is a global celebration, 29 hours of global celebration. And as we speak, groups are gathering all over the world to celebrate Notre Dame. It is now our pleasure to leave campus and check in on the Notre Dame Club of Brazil, where they're leading a Notre Dame celebration of their own. And where are you celebrating Notre Dame Day?
Terry, we're celebrating right here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Actually, we had our bigger celebration just a few weeks ago when we sent off 11 Brazilians who were visiting Notre Dame last week because they are accepted candidates for the class that'll be enrolling next August. So there's a lot going on here. And today, I'm sorry, you're just going to get me. But one of the things that you need to know is that tell your sister that I can remember Vetteville.
You can remember Vetteville.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Now, you say you remember Vetteville. Did you live at Vetteville?
I did not live there, but I went past it a number of times.
Okay, and Chris, what is your connection to Notre Dame? Give us a little bit about your history to Notre Dame, with Notre Dame.
Well, a little bit like Joe said just a little while ago, Notre Dame was basically the only place I ever wanted to go. And so I got there in the fall of 1957, graduated in 61. And in 1980, when Father Hesburgh and Bob Pelton, who Joe also mentioned, came trying to get international alumni interested in reconnecting with the university getting more people from their countries to attend the university. And then as they came back to the countries, trying to get them interested in forming what Dolly just called the Notre Dame clubs that involve not just alumni, but parents, friends, and Subway alumni. So that's been my connection. I've been part of the Latin American Advisory Council and part of the Kellogg Institute Council at different times over the years.
All right, and Chris, what brought you to Brazil, and how often do you get back to campus? Do you come up for a football game ever?
Well, I came to Brazil because I had a job offer. I had lived here as a kid for a little while. I had a job offer that would enable me to earn some money after graduate school and get married to the woman I'm still married to. And then my plan was to go back to graduate school, get a PhD, and teach in the U.S. But that was, I came here in 1962, so it's been 52 years just about since I got here.
All right, and on this Notre Dame Day, what would you like to tell the Notre Dame family? What's the one thing they should know about the Notre Dame Club of Brazil?
Well, I think what's impressive, and I think what will happen as Notre Dame becomes more internationally oriented, as more people around the world get to know about Notre Dame. When I arrived here in '62, I was the only undergraduate alumni in the country. There were some CSC missionaries here. There were some Brazilians who had attended either graduate school or the London Law Program or things like that, but no other undergraduate alumni. So we began working with the university to try to get more university people to come here and interest people in applying to Notre Dame. And today, after quite a few years, but Father Ted, as I said, Father Ted came with Bob Pelton in the early 80s, visited many of the countries in Latin America, especially to try to get more people to apply to Notre Dame and to get more people when they went back to their countries to form Notre Dame clubs. So in our case, we've gone from myself, to today there are over 300 members of the Notre Dame Club in Brazil. They're scattered all over. Brazil is larger than the continent of the United States, so it's quite a deal. But most of the people are here in São Paulo, Brazil. Most of the club members. So the club also 2011 was, out of those 52 clubs that Dolly mentioned, Brazil was the outstanding international club, and they've had awards for other reasons since then. So I think it's a good example of what can be done as Notre Dame reaches out and tells people more about them. There just isn't the recognition around the world that you have in the United States. We don't have, you mentioned NBC and the football games. We don't have Notre Dame in our living room every home game or anything like that. So they are working hard at letting people know how great Notre Dame is, and there's no country in the world that has a larger Catholic population or more values family relationships than Brazil. And so Notre Dame is becoming more and more active here. We just had the visit of Nick Entrican. We've had Notre Dame MBA students here visiting. We have regular visitors on a regular basis, and the alumni club's here to help and support the university any way we can.
And finally, what do you love most about Notre Dame?
Well, that was a hard question. I'm sure it's hard for everybody, but the two things I think, and they go together. One is the place. Whether you're an alumni or not, when you step on the Notre Dame campus and you feel the energy and you feel the spirit, it's a wonderful thing, and it's something I think all of us enjoy when we come back, or as Dolly and her colleagues like to say, when you come home to Notre Dame. You asked earlier, I get that opportunity 2-3 times a year because of the councils I'm involved with, and I have seen at least one football game a year for the last couple of years. The other thing is the kind of people that are attracted to that place. Whether you start with Father Jenkins and go down to the people that are taking care of the lawns and making it as beautiful as it is, the people, the teachers, faculty, the priests, everyone, and the people that you become friends with and that are your best friends to this date. So I'd say that things I love, and it's hard to separate, but it's the place and it's the people attracted to that place.
I think you put it well there, Christopher Lund. Thank you very much. Christopher Lund from the Notre Dame Club of Brazil. Have a great day, and thank you for celebrating Notre Dame Day with us.
Thank you, Terry.
All right. And now please take a look at this special video from the current mayor of South Bend, Pete Buttigieg, who is currently in Afghanistan in his role as a lieutenant in the United States Naval Reserve.
My name is Pete Buttigieg, and I'm thrilled to have an opportunity to say a couple words about what Notre Dame means to me. You know, I'm in South Bend because of Notre Dame. My parents moved to take a job there, and I was born pretty soon after that. Grew up very close to the university, used to ride my bike up there, and we'd hang out by the lakes and get in trouble. And it's been part of my life ever since. I went to high school right across the street from the golf course at St. Joe. And ever since I became mayor, we've really been thrilled with the partnerships that we have formed and carried on with the university on everything from economic development, creating new jobs in technologically advanced areas, and great neighborhood work and work with kids in the community as well. Even here in Afghanistan, I've had an opportunity to stay in touch with home through Notre Dame. Had a great time following the women all the way to the championship from over here, tuning in for that. And I can tell you already, the gunny sergeant and I out here talking about the recruiting and the latest news for the Notre Dame football team going into the fall too. So it's never been far from my heart, and can't wait to get home and continue that partnership that we have with our city and the university. Thanks for the chance to say a couple words, and of course, go Irish.
All right. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, stay safe in Afghanistan. Now let's head outside to our reporter, Justine Ward, who's this hour's tug of war competitors. Justine.
Thank you so much, Terry. Yes, it is time for another dorm competition here on North Quad, another tug of war. Last hour, we saw Farley defeat Breen Phillips, and now it's the guys' turn. We have St. Ed's over here. They came ready to win. They brought a whole music system with them, and then over here we have Zahm, so it should be a pretty good matchup, so I'm going to let them get to it. This one might not be as quick as the one we saw last hour. It's looking like it's going over to the Zahm side right now. And the win goes to Zahm. All right, now we have the captain of Zahm with us, Steven. You just won. You're very excited. What was your plan going into this? You had a guy at the front line barefoot. Was that part of your strategy?
Well, you have to always remember the intimidation factor is it's a big component in these contests. You know, you don't want to underplay that.
So did all these Zahm House guys, they get excused from class for this hour?
Oh, no.
All right, we
No.
never miss class here at Notre Dame, right?
Of course not.
All right, well, congratulations to you guys. Terry, I'm going to send it back into you and Maureen for the next round of this competition between these two dorms. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Justine. And now we're going to continue the competition between St. Ed's Hall and Zahm Hall with a different game. We have teams from St. Ed's and Zahm in the studio now for a slightly different feat of skill. It's a new app called Heads Up. Ellen DeGeneres made it popular on her show. Each residence hall has a two-person team One team member will hold the app over their head and the other will have to give clues so their teammate can guess the word on the screen. And when you guess correctly, you'll flip the app down to get a new clue. You can also flip the app up to skip a word. So who's up first? We're going to have St. Ed's Hall going first. So let's find out who these guys are. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
My name is Patrick Yerkes. I'm a freshman in St. Ed's. Just from suburbs of Chicago, and I'm a mechanical engineer.
Hi, my name is Brendan Coyne. Oh, there we go. So I'm a senior in St. Ed's. I'm from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, and I'm a program of liberal studies and psychology major.
Okay, a couple of really dumb kids, huh? Never at Notre Dame. Well, anyway, you have 60 seconds to get started. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Pass. The big, a lot of the main lecture classes are across near
DeBartolo Hall.
Yeah. What's the guy's full name?
Edward DeBartolo.
Okay. It's one of the dining halls, not south, but
North
and
dining hall.
No, it's not a dining hall, but it's like, what do
North
you call
quad.
it? Yeah. Pass. Oh shit. It's the girls' hall across from us.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah. Notre Dame football player, really famous quarterback.
Tim Brown. Brady Quinn. Joe Montana.
Yeah.
There we go.
Pass. Food court under south dining hall.
Wreckers.
Girls' dorm next to the Rock.
Pangborn.
Guys' hall near
Carroll.
Okay. Good job, St. Ed's. That's going to be pretty hard to beat. I was a little surprised you didn't get Regis Philbin.
Yeah, I realized I knew that after I said pass. So.
Okay. Well, good job to St. Ed's. We really appreciate it. And now we're going to meet the guys from Zahm. If you want to switch out, bring them over. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. Can you introduce yourselves to us as you get ready?
Yeah, sure. My name is Mark Ambrose. I am a senior science business major. I'm wrapping up my time at Notre Dame right
And where
now.
are you from?
I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Very good.
I'm Ryan Johnson. I'm a sophomore finance major, and I'm from Littleton, Colorado.
All right, very good. I
can take that for you.
So I'll let you guys get set up here so you're ready.
Sure.
Are you ready? You got 60 seconds.
Yep. You gotta make sure you get it started.
Technology.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing when it works,
It
and
is.
sometimes it just takes a little while. Do you tilt it?
Just tilt it a little bit.
Right.
There we go.
There we are. Get ready.
All right. This is the person that the gym on South Quad is named after.
Newt Rockne.
All right. Pass.
Oh.
This is where they play football here.
Notre Dame Stadium?
Yep. Pass. This is Louis Nix's nickname.
Irish chocolate.
Yep. This is a dorm that they're called the Chicks.
Lewis.
Yep. This is a famous TV person who played football at Notre Dame. He has a talk show on ESPN. Big guy.
Mike Golick.
Yep. This is a dorm that puts on the pep rally to start.
Dillon Hall?
Yep. Pass. This is where people eat who live not where we live.
South Dining Hall.
Yep. Pass. Pass again. Pass. This is the basketball player for Notre Dame's women's team that tore her ACL.
Natalia Chanwa.
Yep.
All right, time's up.
Yeah, -1.
-1?
Yeah.
So Zahm got it. Congratulations, gentlemen. And I understand each winning hall gets a check that goes towards your hall. I'm not sure the amount, but congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Great effort
It's great
here.
to be a part of the day.
And before we go, we're going to wrap up our live telecast for this hour. We're going to go to reporter Justine Ward, and she's at the Notre Dame Social Media Command Center. Justine?
Thank you, Maureen. We are here back in the Social Media Command Center where we've been tracking all of your activity through hashtag ND Day. We have Jonathan Rathartha. You are just working hard over here, bud.
It's crazy. I'll tell you, people are coming out from all around the university to ask for your votes. They're making big pushes all day long, whether it's residence halls, the students are coming out for their challenges, whether it's the institutes, alumni clubs from around the country. We have people tuning in from countries all around the globe. That makes LaFortune Hall right here the epicenter of the global celebration that is Notre Dame Day. We encourage all of you who are around town and around campus to come visit us in the social media lounge. We're going to have a coffee latte bar set up all afternoon, so please come, join the festivities, see our live performances. And if you're out there, you can participate too. It's really easy. Just go to NotreDameDay.nd.edu, hit the big green button. It says Give and Vote. Fill out your information, make your gift to the university. It could be $10, it doesn't matter. And then you get 3 votes where you can help allocate our $250,000 challenge fund. Now, to give you a sense of what's happening on social media right now, you can see we've got tons of hashtag ND Day tweets coming in. I can point out some. Angelo DiCarlo from WNDU here in town is giving a shout out to his colleagues, Maureen and Terry at the anchor desk, doing a great job. Notre Dame rowing's been doing great among athletics all weekend, and they're getting into it with Notre Dame business. You know, they're not just satisfied to be at the top of the list among athletics categories. They want to be #1 on the leaderboard overall. They're really going after it, so they're throwing the gauntlet down to Notre Dame business. Finally, Pure White, really enjoying the content on Notre Dame Day. Spend a little bit of your day remembering why you fell in love with this place, and that's what the day is all about. We want you to go back and take a look and say, what was important to me during my Notre Dame experience? Maybe it was a time in your dorm. Maybe it was because you were in the band or the glee club. Today's the day to reconnect with those areas, find out what they're doing now through areas like social media, and then make your votes to allocate some of those challenge funds to them. Speaking of votes, let's take a look at the leaderboard. Last hour, we had a great matchup between Farley and BP. Farley edged out just barely over BP, so they get another $1,000 in challenge funds. Let's take a look at the rest of the tally board. Let me see here. All right, so let's get a refresh. Make sure we have the most up-to-date numbers for you guys. 1,284 gifts, almost $530,000. Thanks to all of you for participating. It means so much to the university here. You can see rowing still on top of athletics. Undergraduate business and graduate business are on top of academics. So they heard our call last night. We were giving them a hard time because they were second place among academics. And, you know, the business school, they like to be first all the time. And you guys have really come out for business. So thank you so much. Let's take a look at the overall leaderboard. Financial aid still on top, followed by Morsey Hall. You guys at Morsey Manor still, you had your dorm residence hall challenge last night. You're still coming through. We appreciate that. And there's rowing. You know, they're not satisfied. They want to be at the very top of the entire board and get as many votes and as many of the challenge fund as they can. So things are moving up here. We're doing really well. We have Hillary joining us as well, helping out with our social media activities. And what do we have going on next hour? It's got to be another action-packed hour.
It certainly is. Thank you so much, Jonathan. That is just incredible. Over $500,000 already raised. So next hour, the ND Day celebration continues, so make sure you stay here. Coming up, we have a live visit with the ACE bus tour, and they are all the way in Tucson, Arizona, so we're going to check in with them. We also have a picnic going on at North Dining Hall in honor of ND Day, and then we're going to have a visit from John Affleck Graves, and then we have the world champion Notre Dame in St. Mary's Irish dance team. We have a live performance from them on our Notre Dame Day stage, so you don't want to miss that. And then finally, it's back to the ladies again. Baden Hall and Howard Hall will face off in this next hour, so don't go away. Keep tweeting, keep your browsers on NotreDameDay.nd.edu as this live broadcast continues at the top of next hour. We'll see you then.